everyone. Welcome back to another video. This is Spectre here, and welcome to the new year. It's 2024, and I hope everyone had a nice holiday week last week and the weeks prior. Just a general nice break the end of December. It's always just a nice time to hopefully get to see some friends and family. And I hope that everyone is looking forward to the new year, especially for the trading year. Now, quick recap of where are we? Well, should know at this point that since the end of October of 2023, we've had a ginormous bullish rally. I mean, a ridiculously strong rally. And today, to start off the new year, we have a pretty decent size gap down. Now, you should know that in a bull market, in a long-term uptrend, which we are certainly in right now, gaps down, especially decent sized gaps down, provide us with a really good trading opportunity if we get a gap reversal. Because the thing is, when we have a huge long-term trend like this, buyers are going to be conditioned to buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, which, to be fair, we haven't even really seen a dip yet, but we do know that buyers are certainly engaged, right? You can see that with the volume increases here after all of these gaps up. And if buyers weren't engaged, you would have seen some sort of dip or profit taking. And we haven't seen any of that whatsoever. So that should make you bullish. And this gap down today should not be making you shit your pants terrified. If you are feeling terrified or scared, that means you are either long, way too many positions, perhaps over leveraged, and perhaps maybe have some bear market heebie-jeebies if you've been trading since 2022 / early 2023 bear market, which I totally understand. But at the same time, you have to learn to have faith in what the market D1 or daily chart is telling you. And right now, this is saying this is a really fucking strong trend up. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the intraday price action. And by the way, if you want to look for levels of support and or resistance on the daily chart, let me go ahead and put up a VWAP Q for SPY. We are basically right around that level right now. Now, a VWAP Q is a significant level on the daily chart for SPY, and also a VWAP E or a VWAP earnings is also a very significant level on individual stock tickers daily charts, so please have that level up. Anyways, we're basically right on that level right now for a VWAP Q, and that's going to provide a little bit of resistance, and that also happens to coincide nearby the prior day's low from Friday, which is also going to serve as resistance a bit. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the M5 price action. And let's see, this is what we had today. So we started off gap down, right? Reasonably sized gap down in a long-term long-term bull market. And remember, we know that gaps down in a long-term uptrend provide us with a great opportunity to get a good entry point, and it gives us the most potential upside, because if we can reverse this gap, fill it, we have a lot more room to move to the upside, right? Also, what's good about a gap down is that when the market gaps down, not all stocks are going to gap down. In fact, some stocks are actually going to have really nice moves to the upside in the morning, and they may not have gapped down with the market. So let me go ahead and find an example. Sorry, I've got a bunch of alerts popping off here. Do I want to look at this? Sure, let's go ahead and actually walk through some of these. You guys should know by now, I use a ton of alerts to help me keep track of stocks I am interested in, and this is when it pays off, when you get a million of these alerts popping off. So we'll get back to the market analysis soon, but I wanted to talk about how you can easily figure out stocks that are relatively strong early on in the morning, because again, the market gapped down. So let's take a look at a stock I just got an alert triggered on. This is T or AT&T. Look at this. Stock actually opened, gapped up above the prior day's high, which was last week on Friday. Right there, that's going to tell you that this stock has relative strength. And I'm sorry if all these alerts are really busy, and I apologize. These three colored lines here, these like brownish pink, gray, and the pink one. These are the SMAs. I do not use them on the 5-minute chart. They're just there because I like to switch back and forth from the M5 to the daily chart, so please ignore them. Anyways, I was talking about how this gapped up when the market did what? It gapped down. That's a sign of strength because buyers were in there pre-market saying, I want this. And right away, you could see the stock stacking green candles with very little to no overlap, okay? That's a sign of strength. That is why I set an alert on this thing, and I really like it. Would I go long right now? No, I wouldn't, because the market is hitting some resistance here at the previous low of the day, which we also know around that 472.96 level, I believe, is also a VWAP-Q, which is also going to provide a little bit of resistance. And the market is kind of just, compressing around here at this moment, trying to figure out what it wants to do. So as far as day trading goes, I personally wouldn't enter anything right now. I would want to see the market get up above the prior day's low, which would make a new high for us, which is this little line here. This is an alert line that I set, and this is Option Stalker Pro in case you guys are wondering what platform this is. And I did that by just clicking the EOD line here and clicking the top of this wick, and that sets the alert there. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and just delete that. Grab this, tap the top of the wick, boom, there you go. Now, you can pretty much set alerts in any trading platform. I highly recommend you do so, especially on the SPY and of course stocks you're interested in, but they're really useful for intraday alerts too, because it can give you good insight into where is the market right now between, say, like the high and the low for the day, which is what I've done here. I've set this alert at the low, set this alert at the high, right? Because oftentimes when I'm flipping through charts, I always have the market view in the background, but I might not be sure, like, what is the rest of the price action like, because I have to go to the chart to look at the rest of it. So just setting these alerts here just give me a good indication of like, what is the range of the day so far and where is the market kind of moving around within that range. Okay, so anyways, I'm kind of going all over the place, but I just wanted to show you that because the market gapped down in a longer term uptrend, repeat this again, that gives us a great opportunity to join the longer term uptrend in strong stocks, right? So this was an example, right? Market gap down, this stock gapped up. Let's take a look at some of these other ones. LVS. So right away, we saw this stock actually gap down with the market, but a huge bullish engulfing candle, right? Engulfing all of the prior day's price action, basically. So that's important. We also see massive volume, and I know we see all these alerts here, which is probably really fucking annoying, but just bear with me. We had this long green candle and then immediately another long green candle that did not retrace whatsoever into this. What did the market do at 9:35 when this stock LVS put in a long green candle? It had a long red bearish engulfing candle on heavy volume. That's bearish. This bullish. This shows strength in the stock. And if I put up an SPY overlay, you can also see that, right? What was the market doing? The market was just wandering around, between the opening price basically and the new low, right? Just kind of chopping back and forth. This thing just kept going higher and higher and higher. That is relative strength. And I was thinking about it the other day, right? This orange line down here, this is the real relative strength indicator. And it basically just tells you if it's above zero, the stock has relative strength to the market or the SPY. If it's below zero, it's relatively weak. Now, obviously, intraday, it's going to bounce around. And that's why I think it's important to be able to just visually look at a chart, especially like intraday and on the daily chart, and visually see just by looking at it, is it strong relative to the market? And I can look at this and say, well, hell yes, it is, right? And you can tell, right? Because obviously, one, the real relative strength indicator is positive, even though it was negative here, right? Let's say you're new to trading and you see this real relative strength indicator is below zero and you're thinking, oh man, like, the system we trade is all about relative strength. And look, the stock is relatively weak right now. Like, how could I ever trade this if it's relatively weak? Bear in mind, we haven't even looked at the daily chart for this stock yet, but regardless, you should be able to look at this chart and see this is damn strong. Why? Because we know that when the market was moving down, this thing was moving up with very little retracement on massive volume. We also had the stock, right, around 1045. What was the market doing there? Market was near the low of the day. It was below VWAP. This thing is not even VWAP in sight, right? And then this thing came down to test for some support, right? Couldn't even touch VWAP. You see this candle here? This is a bullish hammer. What does a bullish hammer mean? It means that sellers were driving the stock down at some point here, right? All the way down here. This was a long red bar that looked something like this bar, at least the length of the body on this. I'm sure there were dumbasses who were shorting this thinking, oh my god, I got the top, look at this, I have so much room to the downside. Only to find out that, nope, buyers were interested. Why? Because one, we got close to the VWAP, which is going to serve as natural support and or resistance if the stock is below. But two, right, the stock was all the way down here, and sellers were getting excited thinking they got a top, picked it, timed it perfectly, and then when the 5-minute candle finished, buyers came in and buy, all the way up near the opening price. That's a sign of strength and interest in buyers, and that's really good because, right, we had a dip from the top, we retraced this long green candle, okay, that's fine. We still have all of this move that has transpired, so we want to preserve ideally as much of this as we can, right? This bullish hammer, again, that signifies that buyers are interested, because if they weren't, sellers would not have been able to get it down here, and the candle would have closed near the low. But instead, buyers came in and changed the character of this candle completely before it finished. So that is also why you want to make sure when you are going to enter a stock, you always need to wait for confirmation. Meaning, don't just assume that, oh, I just poked above the high of the day in a stock and it's for sure going to keep going. Wait for the next candle or two to come through. And in this case here, right, if you were a dumbass trying to sell this, right, maybe you should think, well, maybe I want it to go below VWAP, and also I want to see how the candle closes. In other words, always wait to see how the candle closes before you go long. That's my rule personally, and it works well for me because it keeps me calm, right? So let's say I wanted to go long LVS here, which, you know, this is a great long to go long right now. And I know we haven't even looked at the daily chart, but I know the daily chart looks nice in this, so we'll get to that. But if I were to go long, my rule is just wait for this candle to complete, because then I have a consistent rule that I can stick with, where I'm always making sure I don't enter just willy-nilly on an impulse. I always wait for the candle to close. Helps keep me in control, and, you know, it keeps me kind of just more composed, if that makes sense. So anyways, let's go ahead and look at the daily chart for LVS. And you can see here, right, we already looked at the intraday chart, which is obviously very bullish. Now, this stock has been in a longer term downtrend since, oh God, I really got to deal with these alerts, but it has been in a longer term downtrend since May of last year. So is this a good buy? It's not bad, actually. You can see here, we've been kind of forming a base. We have a higher low, double bottom. Okay, that's always nice, right? Because these bounces, when they first happen, this could just be shorts covering their positions or a dead cat bounce. And the problem here is if you buy here thinking, oh my God, I'm so smart, look at me, I got the bottom, I timed it perfectly, I'm gonna make so much money. Oftentimes, this is, again, just a short covering bounce and a new low is made and you get wiped out here. However, when the stock has been forming a base for a longer period of time, over at least a few months, and you get something like a higher low double bottom, and then you get a big green candle like this off of this higher low, that's a really nice sign because it shows buyers are interested. If they weren't, and this really were just short covering, sellers would have come in aggressively like they initially did, and they would have just wham, 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 driven it down, broken below this low here, and, you know, the stock would have continued its trend down. But again, buyers came in pretty aggressively, and they came in aggressively above this low because they were thinking, I want to buy it now. I don't want to wait till the low here. I want to start buying it now. And that's how that higher low forms. So yeah, this is actually a pretty nice D1 chart. So you have support at the SMA 100. You had this compression here, and now the stock is making a nice move up. You do have some longer term trend lines that may provide resistance. You also have room to the SMA 200 here. So again, it's a decent trade. Is it the best one? Probably not. Okay, I am going way too off track here looking at stocks before I wanted to talk about the market more specifically the intraday price action. But again, I was saying that I wouldn't want to go long here on a day trade and just in general until I see the market make more progress into the gap here. This blue line is roughly the halfway mark of the gap. And you can see here this alert. Remember that alert I said on the top of this wick? That SPY alert actually just told me that the market is making a new high. So if I were flipping around charts here and I wasn't really paying attention, this alert says, hey, dumbass, look at the market. It's making a move. So that's nice. But yeah, if I were to go long, I would want to see us break above, confirm above this, meaning we close above the prior day's low and we get follow through candles that continue to move up. Ideally, we also get to the halfway mark of this point in the gap, because that would indicate we're making more progress to the upside. We have a little bit of support, right? We found support at the low of the day. We have a double bottom. Technically, this is an extremely marginal new low. I'll call it a microscopic low. So it's more or less just a double bottom. But that means that sellers, they could not drive the market down significantly below this low. And you can see here at 1035, we actually had a bullish hammer, which similar to the analysis we were looking at on LVS earlier when looking at this bullish hammer. This bullish hammer here indicates that sellers, they tried to get it down, but buyers were interested. And by the time the candle closes, they bought all the way back up to the opening price. That's a bullish sign. That doesn't mean go long right now. It just means that buyers may be interested in here. So you wait for confirmation, meaning you see, does this move up by buyers on this candle have follow through? So get a nice green candle, right? Mixed green and red candles, nice long green candle through the VWAP. If you were wondering what this is, this hollow green candle, this is a key bar, which are candles that have higher than average volume, and they have an ATR that is much larger, or excuse me, not an ATR, a body length of the candle that is much larger relative to the others that opens on its low and closes on its high. So this is a significant candle, which also pushes us up above VWAP. Okay, do I go long here? No, I personally would not have gone long here because VWAP is going to give a significant level of resistance. So I want to confirm that we have a move up. Now, if you drew in, say, a downward sloping trend line, like, I don't know, let me go ahead and do so, like this, right? Once that broke to the upside and we had some follow through, that could be a nice long. I personally didn't take that trade because I want to see more of a move to the upside after a more reasonably sized gap down, but that could have been a nice entry point. And honestly, it probably would have been fine given the longer term market context is extremely bullish right now. So yeah. Anyways, market went up to the prior day's low. Okay, this is a really nice move off of VWAP. We had another nice long green key bar. Then we had these tiny bodied mixed candles compressing near the high. Now that does not mean we are going to reverse. That does not mean put on shorts. It does not mean that. It just means that right now the market is hitting a little bit of resistance. So you wait to see what happens. Do you go long? No. Don't anticipate that this resistance is going to break. In a similar way, as I said, don't assume that we're just going to break down here. You have to wait to see what the price action does. All right. So we get this long red this long red bar, right, which Soon buyers come in, buy, 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 which kind of, this is sort of a bullish candle, right? Because we also preserved the open and near the halfway point of this long green candle. And if you're wondering, what does that have to do with anything? Well, we already know this is a significant key bar because it has this very long body length to it on heavy volume, but it also means that buyers here, they have buy orders down here. So when sellers try to push the market down, the buyers from this, they're still interested. That's why you see this long tail on the body of this candle here, right? Because these buyers here, if they weren't interested, you would not see this nice little, or excuse me, you would not see this long tail here because sellers would have driven it down. But because this bounce came by the time this candle closed, that indicates that these buyers here are still interested. So that's a bullish sign, right? And you can see sellers try to push it down a little bit. Buyers can't really push it up, but we still have the halfway mark and the opening of this long green candle still intact. And then nice little bullish flag, right? Downward sloping trend line, breach to the upside. Now we have a nice move to the upside through the prior day's low on decent volume. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. Would I go long here? I would probably feel pretty comfortable at this point opening a couple of starter positions in some longs for day trades because one, this is nice, decent price action on the bullish side because buyers came in, we had a double bottom, we got back up a VWAP, and now we've kind of made a higher low again, right? This isn't a substantial dip, but at the same time, we already know that buyers are interested from this point. So I'd probably feel kind of comfortable going long here. Now, if you use Option Stalker Pro, you can see we have a 10p bearish cross that has perhaps just begun, or 10p might also cross back up to the bullish side. I respect the indicator, which is predictive of the movement of the SPY, and this could suggest that there may be some selling pressure soon, but again, you have to confirm that with the price action. So this might have me being a little bit more, I guess, conservative with, do I just add a full position on right now? No, I wait to see, because one, I want to make sure that this support holds here, this support being the prior day's low, and I also want to see the market get more into the gap, right? This halfway mark of the gap, if it can get to there and above, I'd feel a lot more comfortable going long because we may possibly have a gap reversal setting up, which is great. So anyways, that's my little market analysis for the intraday move that we have right now. Again, this is not an extremely bullish move. This is also not an extremely bearish move, right? The market is, we had a decent gap down, but buyers are interested, and that's why we are seeing this move to the upside. And again, in the context of the longer term market, we're in a freaking big ass bull run. So do not be bearish thinking that, oh my God, this is the top and we're going to, we're going to drop to zero on SPY. That's not going to happen. If it does, you will see stacked long red candles to the downside intraday, which would also end up manifesting on the D1 chart. You would have long stacked red candles, which again, there is none of that here. Nothing here says go short. Yes, there may be a little bit of resistance here, which that's fine. Again, that doesn't mean we're going to reverse, nor does it mean we're going to break out. It just means that the market is pausing right now. And honestly, that makes sense given how big this move is because we really have not had much of a pullback whatsoever. So the market could just pause here and soon just rip off to make a new all-time high and, go mode or whatever. But right now, this is just a little bit of a pause, and that's all I view it as. So not concerned about it whatsoever. Also, my crosshairs are kind of stuck right now, which, whatever, not really sure. Maybe that's a sign to shut up and end this video, but that's my analysis for the day. I am bullish longer term until I see significant moves to the downside and perhaps a lower high double top, especially if we can't make a new all-time high on SPY. That would make me shift to a little bit more of a neutral to slightly bearish. But again, I have no reason to be even worrying about that right now at all. So don't worry about that. Just stay focused on the long side. Again, we know that this gap down provides us a great opportunity to find stocks that are relatively strong. And I gave you one clue to do that, which is go and find stocks that did not gap down, find those that open flat or up, and also see how stocks are behaving at the open when the market is moving down like it was earlier in the day. Because those are the stocks you're going to want to be long if the market tells you it's go time.